If you want a great life, there can be no days off. No days off. The desire to improve. No days off. Wanting better for your life and those you care about.
Bring it across to Derek Richardson working with him, and we
Focuz TV One Network, 24 hours of entertainment. Catch the wave. Alright everybody, it's your boy Jay Rice from South Jamaica, Queens, a musical poet. Check it out. The Focuz, the magazine live, man. This is where it's at. Check it out, man.
When I've warmed up, and she said yes, he played with the Broncos, but Mr. Mingo is just like you. He needs to get his GED to move on or whatever. And I want you to treat him the same way as you've been treated. That's all we want is a chance. We don't, if you're better than us, prove it. If you're better than the black man, prove it.
This is Dr. Lee, and you're in tune with the Focuz TV One Network.
Good things. This is Dula, and you're tuned in to the Focuz TV One Network and Focuz the magazine.
Exclusive photograph and fans. Remember, you're the VIP to us.
You're tuned into the Sports Desk with T.Web and special guest J-Rob on Focuz TV One Network, powered by Sports Talk Net One. Welcome in, J-Rob, and good to see you. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm better than I deserve. Thank you for having me. How are
You're
you?
welcome. Yeah,
T.Web?
it's good to have you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
quite a bit to talk about tonight, but let's start off with the baseball MLB lockout. They've canceled game and spring training until March 4th, which is it's one of those things that as a sports fan and as a in the sports media world now, it just bugs me. If you're going to delay these guys getting warmed back up, they haven't played in months. You need to get these pitchers back in. They need to start working on their commands, start working on their new pitches that they may have tried to start during the offseason. And you're just hurting these guys to push the season back because you're having issues with money or owners want more money or who knows. It's I don't know what the scene like there is in Florida for the Florida Marlins, but I know here in Colorado it's a pretty big thing that a lot of Rockies fans are quite upset that they're not being able to watch spring training yet.
Yeah, it's big down here too. You know, everybody's going through this pandemic thing, and you know, with the money situation and everything that's happening right now, we just gotta understand that you know some things are going to be delayed. You know, and we just it's disappointing. It is disappointing, but you know, we just got to roll with it. You know, we definitely have.
And I think one of the other big things is now one of the they've brought in the DH into the National League now. It's a part of both leagues. I think it's going to make Major League Baseball a little more balanced. I have a lot of friends that are like, no, if you're a pitcher, you're part of the team, you got to hit. But I think when you really sit there and you really think, you're putting the pitcher at risk when he's batting. He's going to hurt his shoulder. He could get hit by the ball. And then all of a sudden now you got to bring in a new pitcher. And if your pitcher's doing well late in the inning, it can really affect your team and the momentum of the game. A lot of these pitchers just can't hit, and there's very few that can. And you know, if those guys want to be a DH every once in a while, so be it. But I'm glad the MLB's finally put the DH in both leagues. It's going to balance it out and make it a lot more fun to watch. A lot of these older veterans can get off their feet now in the National League and just worry about batting than not having to worry about playing in the outfield.
Yeah, you know, and being a pitcher, you know, they got a special talent with the wrist. You know, they when you're batting and you're apt to bat, you know, there's a potential that you could spring your wrist and you can do something. It's going to put them out of the game for a while too. You know, so I mean, I agree with you on that. That's you know, I think it'll be.
It'll make it more fun, you know. And one of the big topics out here again. The Rockies losing John Gray, probably losing Trevor Story, two more big names. A few years ago, the Rockies lost, you know, Nolan Arenado, and it's one of these things where out here the owner just doesn't seem to care. He would rather bring fans in to party on the party deck or make it look like a big bar because he wants to compete with the bars down in Lodo. And he's getting a lot of flack. People are asking him to sell the team, sell it to somebody that's actually going to put a winning market team on the field and bring in good big name players and not sell big name players off. And I know the Marlins for many years went through the same sort of struggle.
Yeah, they definitely did. But you know, I don't honestly. I think what's going to happen is. With the big loss, there's going to be a big comeback. You know, I think they're going to. I think the Rockies are going to make this year. They're going to come back really bigger and better. You know, these new rookies coming out.
Hopefully, it's one of those things that a lot of people out here expect.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of rookies that are showing they're stepping up to the game. You know, there's a lot of rookies that has a lot of talent out there, and they're showing. You know, they're showing their talent. So. This year's going to be a good year.
And I know another rumor out here and another funny thing is a lot of players are asked not to be the face of the Rockies because they know that if once they do that their time in the Rockies is quite short and they'll be. So it's going to be an interesting season once it gets rolling. You know, we're going to have a short spring season again, like we did back when the pandemic was even worse as the pandemic slowly starts to kind of tame down and wind down. You know, it's going to be fun to have fans back in the stadium again. It's going to make it a more fun atmosphere. It's going to be interesting to see where the All-Star game is this year. Hopefully they don't pull it out of the city that's supposed to host it and throw it onto another city. But to actually say last year's All-Star game for Colorado to be able to pull that off in the short amount of time that they were able to pull that off, they did a fantastic job in pulling off that. Oh, by the way, you're now hosting the All-Star game. You have a month to do it. There you go.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, down here, because Florida has been open, through the pandemic. So a lot of the players came down here to the ESPN Sports at Walt Disney World, and they were playing there, and it was so weird with nobody in the stands. It was all just TV, It was just weird.
Yeah, the sounds of the bat hitting or what you really hear on the baseball field is like, oh wow, there's quite a bit said.
Yeah,
really think people need to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be a good season. I'm excited for once the season starts. It gives the NFL fans something to watch and kind of gets them back into watching sports and keeps them entertained until the NFL season starts, as NHL season's winding down. NBA season is winding down. So we're definitely starting to get into that really big group and punch of a lot of sports going on. It's a lot of sports action, and college basketball is starting to get into their tournaments. Their season's starting to wind down, and March Madness will start here pretty soon. So
yeah, I think having people back in the stands and having people there, as being an entertainer as I am, I love feeding off their energy. So I know the players do as well, and not having nobody there, it's kind of hard to play, So I think this season, when everybody's coming back into play, I think it's going to be awesome.
If you want a great life, there can be no days off. No days off. The desire to improve. No days off. Wanting better for your life and those you care about.
Right across to Derek Richardson working with him, and we.
All right, everybody, it's your boy Jay Rice from South Jamaica, Queens, a musical poet. Check it out. The Focus, the magazine live, man. This is where it's at. Check it out, man.
Man, when I've warmed up, and she said, yes, he played with the Broncos, but Mr. Mingo is just like you. He needs to get his TED to move on or whatever. And I want you to treat him the same way as you've been treated. That's all we want is a chance. If you're better than us, prove it. If you're better than the black man, prove it.
Welcome back to the Sports Text Live. You know, one of the things that recently happened was a couple Sundays ago on the 13th of February, we had Super Bowl 56, and it was one of my favorite Super Bowls. Again, you know, the NFL goes 54 some odd years. They never have a home team ever play in the Super Bowl. Now, the last 2 years, Tampa Bay played at home in their home stadium. The LA Rams played in their home stadium in SoFi. And I think a lot of us knew that the Rams were going to be the team to come out on top, but the Cincinnati Bengals did a great job fighting all the way right up until the very end. But I think one of the things that impressed me is I'm an 80s kid, so I grew up with a lot of those rappers that played in a halftime show, and that is by far probably either my first or second favorite halftime show. It's probably really close right there behind when Prince played in the Super Bowl halftime show, and that was great.
The halftime show was the best. Salute to Dr. J, Snoop Dogg, my boy 50 Cent, Eminem. You know, they did their thing. I mean, I think that was the best halftime show in a very long time. And the way that they at the end when they pointed up and you saw it was Tupac that was actually standing looking at the fireworks on the top of the dome. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's why it was a true. Really notice that actually. Yeah, it was actually a tribute to Tupac Shakur because when they played California Love, you know, they at the end they pointed up, and that was because Tupac was up on top of the dome. It was pretty cool how they interact with that. But yeah, like you said, everybody basically knew the Rams was going to win, but you know, they did stand up. It was a good game. It was very close. It was a very close game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of my favorites to watch, and you know, probably maybe the third Super Bowl that I've been able to watch in that last couple of years, and I really enjoyed it. And as we kind of hinted near the end of last segment, we know the NBA season's just getting back after their All-Star break, which they did another fantastic job during their All-Star break, and another fun game and high scoring. But that's, you know, what everybody wants for the fans. They wanted high scoring and, you know, action and dunks and big 3-pointers. And, you know, the NHL season's starting to wind down. The Avalanche won big last night, 3-6. Nathan McKinnon got another hat trick. The thing about the Avalanche is that first line is so incredibly dangerous and so hot and so fast that when they're on their game, there's very few teams that can keep up with them and can even slow them down.
Agree.
You might, you know, the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Florida Panthers might be able to do it, but those are probably two of the exceptions that are going to be able to slow the Avs down if they get on a roll here when the playoffs start.
Yeah, I agree. They have a very mean front line. It's like very mean front line.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the defensive guy. You know, they got a good young core, and they're going to be around for a while. So, and even the Nuggets, you know, they're a young team. They're starting to struggle. You know, they go through their struggles. But if they can get really rolling and get a lot of their players back, they're a team that I really think can really contend and push really far into the NBA playoffs. Maybe finally get that elusive Western Conference championship in under their belt and see even make a run at the NBA championship. But
yeah, well, I mean, I think the Nuggets with the new recruits that they have, I think that they could be an A1 team if they would, you know, step up a little bit, practice a little bit more. I think they're going to be something serious because these new recruits, man, they're showing their skills and they're trying to get out there and do what they got to do. So I think they're going to be good this year.
And with the All-Star game in the NBA, you know, they did the All 75 anniversary team, and it was really great to see Kobe Bryant up there, and he definitely deserves to be on that team. And we lost a talent at a very young age, and someone that just I really wish was still in the NBA. He was one of those players I really enjoyed watching, even though he was a Laker, and I really wasn't a Laker fan. But that man was the he could do on a basketball court were unreal. And to be able to see something like that again, it's going to be quite a few generations before we see a player of that star magnitude, of being able to really reach out, be a star on the team, on the court, and then get out and really be in the limelight of whatever city he's in, and really portray himself as not just being an NBA star, but being a very vocal person, and getting things done, and making sure that the causes he was fighting for are gonna get resolved.
Yeah, he was always a giver, man. He's always giving back to the communities, and I know LeBron James. He's trying to. He says he's not trying to fill his footsteps, but he wants to. He looked up to him, just like Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jordan. It took a hard hit for all of us, actually, who actually got to meet him and been around him and stuff. Just to hear what happened that day in January with him and Gigi, man. He deserved the Hall of Fame, and he deserved to be, where he was at on the All-Star. I mean,
he definitely deserved to be in there, and that's one of the things I applaud the NBA of doing is allowing him to go in and not making us wait the 5 years or whatever their criteria is for a retired player to get in. I was actually working that day, and I one of my chefs came and told me, and I had to run back in my station. I have a little computer, and I had to log on the computer because I thought he was kidding. I was flabbergasted when I saw that come across. I'm like, and we all have radios at the dining hall I work at, and we all said it, and the entire dining hall, when they heard what happened, the entire dining hall went dead silent for 5 minutes, and you could hear a pin drop because it was everybody was just stunned.
Yeah. I remember I was in the studio, and one of my friends, he was out in LA, and he actually filmed the helicopter going down, and he sent it to me and told me that, he thinks Kobe Bryant just passed away. And I was like, no, that's not true. The next thing you know, about 45, maybe 30 minutes, 45 to an hour later, TMZ was reporting it. And I was like, wow, this is unreal. That hurt, I shed a tear. For real. You can only imagine what was happening that day. How do you tell your daughter, what's going to happen? What can you say?
Or anybody else on that helicopter.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I got kids myself.
Yeah, that day was a shock. I've worked in the dining hall I work at, and I've never heard that dining hall go completely dead silent.
Yeah,
for a good 5 minutes before anybody even spoke.
Yeah, that was.
As the NBA, as the NHL or the NFL starts back up, you were saying you might have some information on a one Tom Brady deciding to.
I think Tom Brady's going to stay with the Tampa Bay. What happened was, Tom Brady is kind of tired of carrying the team. You know what I'm saying? He's proven his point when he took a pay cut and came to the Tampa Bay. He proved the point not only for the NFL to understand that you can have black coaches and to win a Super Bowl. I don't know what's going on right now with the NFL and trying to divide everybody, just or whatnot. But I'm not going to really get onto that subject. But I'm saying, like, Tom Brady, he told the team that he's going to retire because he's tired of holding, the whole team on his shoulders. Let's face it, he's like one of the most oldest maybe NFL players right now, and he's still winning rings back to back to back. He's proven his point. But what happened was the team decided, hey, we're going to work together. We're going to do this together. So Brady was stepped up and said, you know what? I'm going to play maybe one or two more seasons, and then he might call it quits. But I don't think he should ever quit. I think he should go into like being a coach or something because he has the love of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he'll ever lead the game per se, but I that's what's about to happen. I think that's what's about to happen.
Yeah. And as the big news out here in Colorado, which I'm sure you hear quite a bit in Miami, that the Broncos are up for sale. It's a big thing. People were trying to figure out who has the money, the $4 billion. Yes, I said billion, to buy this professional franchises. There's a lot of names out there that are being dropped, and there's 6 or 7 really big names. Brian Allen is one of them. Manning, Mark Stevens, Charles. A couple other big names are Buffett is another name that got dropped a few weeks ago. There's some big media moguls that want to try to get into it. It's the big thing out here is a lot of people don't want John Elway to buy the Broncos. He was offered when he first retired in '98, 40% of the team. He declined the option, and now he's met the Broncos quite a bit with some of his horrible draft picks. And the big thing everybody out here in Broncos country is they want Peyton Manning to buy the Broncos and his ownership group.
Well, Peyton Manning is, if you know his history, I mean, he's a really great guy. I think he would be a good fit for the Broncos. But you know who I really would love to see buy them? Jay-Z. I think Jay-Z would love to have them.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I would love to see Jay-Z buy them. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what's going on. I mean, because the Broncos are a pretty decent team, so we'll see. We'll see what can happen this next season.
Well, we're going to take another quick break here, and we'll be back, and we'll carry on some more Broncos and some more sports talk.
Yes, sir.
If you want a great life, there can be no days off. No days off. The desire to improve. No days off. Wanting better for your life and those you care about.
Girl, I was over Stan's house, and guess what's next week?
What?
Talkies.
She get some milk.
Talkies like
Really?
this, girl.
She's funny.
Is your mouth burning? I said, really?
You talk. That's right. You talk. Come on now. You talk. Cause you know they got something to say. You talk. That's right. You talk. That's right. That's right. You talk. Yeah. Cause you know they got something to say.
Great toss to Derek Richardson working with him, and we
when I've warmed up. And she said, yes, he played with the Broncos, but Mr. Mingo is just like you. He needs to get his GED to move on or whatever. And I want you you to treat him the same way as you've been treated. That's all we want is a chance. If you're better than us, prove it. If you're better than the black man, prove it.
This is Dr. Lee, and you're in tune with the Focuz TV One Network.
If you want a great life, there can be no days off. No days off. The desire to improve. No days off. Wanting better for your life and those you care about.
Welcome back to At the Sports Desk on Focuz Media One Network. You know, another big topic out here in Colorado with J-Rob is the quarterback carousel that the Broncos are still riding here, and this late early in the next offseason. They have a lot of cap room, they have a lot of draft picks, draft capital that they can kind of get rid of a few big names that have been tossed around of maybe potential trades. Is one Mr. Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers and one Mr. Russell Wilson from Seattle Seahawks. A few things I've kind of saw on Twitter late night, was that the Broncos have reached out to the Seattle Seahawks to see what it would cost to bring in one Russell Wilson. I know the Dolphins kind of have their own quarterback situation going on with their young quarterback, Talua there, who's a great quarterback. I mean, he came from one of the greatest, college programs in the country, and he's young, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him with a new coaching staff there in Miami. The Broncos are in that same boat of a whole new coaching staff. But it'll be interesting. I would love to see Russell Wilson come out to Colorado and see how long he can be a Bronco and lead them in, or if they want to stay with the quarterbacks they have now, maybe this new coaching staff can bring Drew Lock around and get him to play better.
Yeah, I think with the Broncos and Miami Dolphins, I would love to see them both in the Super Bowl.
That would be good Super Bowl.
It would be about time that the Miami Dolphins would go back to the Super Bowl. It's been a while since the Dolphins, they're my team. I'm all for the Hurricanes too, for, the college football, but I am for the Dolphins. And, I think that would be a great Super Bowl as well.
It wouldn't be a Super Bowl. It would be an AFC championship game because they're both there in the AFC. But if you could move one of those teams to the NFC, move the Dolphins to the NFC and see what they can do, and that would be a really fun Super Bowl. Because a couple years ago when the Broncos and Seahawks played in the Super Bowl, that was kind of cool. Because again, I grew up in the '80s. I remember the Broncos and Seahawks always battling it out in the old school AFC West when there was 5 teams, and so it would be fun to see the Broncos and Dolphins kind of get back into the Super Bowl, and maybe the Dolphins winning another one, and the Broncos can get their one.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying about the coaches, I agree with that. Because Miami's coach, he might be young, but he's got a lot of experience under his belt, and he's going.
Yeah, he definitely is one of those young coaches, but he can bring in the team, he can bring in the experience he has, and really develop this team and the young team he has, and see where they can go. The same thing with the Broncos is their coaching staff's fairly young. This guy probably has, with Hackett has run one of the most prolific offenses, has one of the best quarterbacks, double MVP, so he can definitely get a team to play well. He's brought in coaches that know the defense from a couple Super Bowl. He got in the guy from the Rams, and that's why it took so long to get the Broncos coaching staff up and running to where it is. everybody out here is really excited to see where this new season goes. But the big thing is, who's going to own the team, and if that owner can come in and really put their foot down, like the late great Pat Bowlen did, who did a fantastic job bringing this team together, and the Super Bowls he's won. He's done a fantastic job as an owner, and again, losing him at the age we did, that was just another tragic loss in the NFL. So.
I agree. Those are some big shoes that the next owner is going to have to fulfill. And it's got to be somebody who cares for the team. And it's not just money hungry, but caring actually for the team, like the previous owner did. And they did an amazing job with the Broncos, and just stepping up.
It'll be interesting to see if they continue to try to play at the old Mile High Stadium in downtown Denver, or if they try to move the team out. Really, the only place, unfortunately, in the Denver area to put a new stadium would be out by DIA, which they would do, and probably the new owner would come in and want to build a new stadium to keep up with Jerry Jones and those guys, and make a new fantastic. They would probably try to put a retractable roof on it so they could get a Super Bowl, they could get a combine, they could get a maybe a national championship game out here for college basketball or anything like that. But, you try to move the stadium out of the iconic area where it is in downtown Denver, you could see quite a bit of an uproar in Colorado if they do that. But I do hear rumors that a lot of the neighborhoods out where the Broncos Stadium is, they want the stadium out of there, and they're tired of the game day traffic one day, on Sundays, and how crazy their neighborhoods get, and parking, and people illegally parking in front of their houses and driveways, and all that fun sort of stuff that happens when you have a stadium downtown.
Hey, I would say just open up your garage and start paying people.
I'm just curious, do you have a prediction of how many wins?
I would say, I don't know. I think it'll be 7-1. I think this year. I think they will step up, be 7-1. I believe.
Yeah. I just hope and with the number 9 pick, you can really have a lot of trade value with that. You have trade capital if you want to trade up in the top 5. The Broncos can do that. They have the ability to do that. They have the cap room. They have the capital to do it. And the Dolphins are unfortunately right up there with the Broncos at a pretty high pick yet again. And you see these teams that continuously are always high in the draft, and they just struggle. The crazy thing is 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, the Cincinnati Bengals were the number 1 draft pick, and they just played in another Super Bowl and lost with their first number 1 pick. Stafford gets traded out of Detroit, goes right to LA, runs the table, puts on gets a Super Bowl championship for himself. I thought that was fantastic. That was a really great story, I think, in the NFL this year. And all the games from the start of the playoffs up until the Super Bowl were really good. They were really, really, really close, other than, one of them went into overtime there. And it was a fantastic. This year's playoffs was one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was one of the best this year. I'm so excited about next season to see what goes on.
Yeah. And adding that extra week, that was fantastic. That was fun. I'm glad last year they started the 17 playoff. I hope they really continue to do that. That just makes the playoffs a lot more fun. It makes that number 1 seed way more valuable now than it was in the past. The number 1, number 2 used to both have off. Now it's only the number 1. And that really makes teams now really have to adjust how they play late in the season. Are they willing to rest their players and risk and gamble losing that number 1 spot? Or are they willing to gamble, keep that number 1 spot and risk a big name player getting hurt and being out in the playoffs? So it makes the NFL playoffs way more fun. It makes the end of the season a lot more fun. It makes it a lot more competitive than it has been in years past.
Yeah, and it makes the players, want to step up the game a little bit. It's all about practice, and they got to get out there and they got to show, what they are made of. It's not just going to be handed to them now. I agree. The 17, I think it's going to be, I'm telling you, this season, I'm excited for.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
After last season, this season, how they hyped it up, they did a great job hyping it up. They, all the players and all the teams did a great job living up to that hype. The playoffs really brought into it, and this year's season is going to be even better. And the NFL is definitely getting more in tune in the fan, and it's going to be ready to go. And I'm super excited to see how this season ends up and starts out. And one less preseason game is great, because if you can't play in the if you can't make it in 3 NFL games and preseason games, then sorry folks, you're not an NFL player. You need to learn to be ready to go, and you got drafted in the NFL and you're top notch. You got to prove yourself right off the bat, and if you can't do it, then you're not an NFL caliber player. Might make a lot of people mad, but you're in the top notch professional sports leagues, and just like the NBA, just like MLB, just like NHL, you got to prove yourself every single day. You can't take a day off.
No. And not only that, but it's not all about the money too. You got to work hard. You got to be dedicated into putting all of you on. When you hit that field, you got to put 100% of yourself in that field, and not think about the money that you're getting afterwards. You got to put in time and effort. You got to discipline yourself. Eat right and get on that field and do it. A lot of players, when they get drafted, they get excited because they're getting more money, but now that, then reality sits in. When they get on that field, it's like, wow, I really got to do this now,
Yeah. And even to bring up a point of what you're saying, you can even watch that in the Olympics this year when Kaylin Schifrin just struggled and, could barely finish a race. She's a top-notch racer. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's one of the best in the world, and there's a reason she's #1 in the World Cup, but when you get in the Olympics, it's a whole new ball game. You are going against the best in the world. That's why it's called the Olympics. These guys train their whole lives just to get there, and when you can really focus and really be on your game for just that one event, and if you're not on your game and your head isn't in it, you'll blow a medal chance. And we saw that with her, this year, and a lot of Americans definitely had some chances to medal, and they blew it in the end. You saw the whole Russian fiasco in the figure skating, and how quickly that can change. A couple bad falls can completely ruin your program and completely put you out of medal contention. It's not easy. My brother was in 2 Olympics. I can tell you from fact, and being there and watching it live, it's a whole new ball game, and you better be ready to go, because if you make one mistake, it'll cost you.
Oh yeah. Your head's got to be there. Your head's got to be in the game 100%.
Yeah.
One fall can cost you your whole career.
Yeah.
Let's take the NFL. I was a captain of my basketball team, and my last season, my senior year, I went up for a layup. I came down on somebody's foot wrong. My ankle went one way, my knee went the other. I was out for the rest of the season, and that was my last year playing. And so, I mean, it only takes one injury, and your career could be gone.
Yeah, and you saw Terrell Davis, how quickly his season ended, his career ended because of injuries. You see these kids, and the NFL's, and a lot of sports are really watching how they players practice, how much time they've got. They're really structuring of off season, what they can do when preseason starts, what they can really do to limit these injuries. You've seen the NFL take a lot of the big hits out of the game. A lot of people are like, oh, it's no more fun to watch. Well, these guys are making a lot of money to play the game they love, and they want to be able to have a good long career. And when they get hurt and they can't make money, go look at Odell Beckham Jr. in the Super Bowl. He played great, and to me, it almost looked like he injured that knee on that touchdown pass he had. And then when he got up and he dropped that 3rd down pass, which he doesn't drop many balls in his excellent career. And you could get up and you could see the look on his face. He immediately knew that
he knew
he heard it again.
Yeah. He never drops any balls in his career. And so when he got up, he knew he was already injured. He just tried to fake it off. He tried to keep in the game, but when he was trying to receive the ball, he knew that he had to get off the field.
Yeah. I think if he would have caught that pass, he might have had a different reaction, and maybe the adrenaline would have kept with him. But no, he he definitely did. He definitely knew he was hurt and he needed out. But his reaction when he won was awesome. You know, and he deserved that ring. And I'm glad that the Ram players and the team was able to really rally around that and make sure that he got that ring, because he deserved it for as poorly as he was treated in Cleveland, and when New York kind of disrespected him as they did. It's good the Rams brought him in and he signed with the Rams, and they were able to give him the respect he deserves, and he got himself a ring.
That's it. Big congratulations to the Broncos. I mean, to the Rams. Let me say that. Congratulations to the Rams, for real. You know, they worked hard this year, you know, 7-1. I mean, they really worked hard this year, and they deserve it. Every step of the way, they deserved it.
Yeah, they played well, especially when, you know, they got into playoffs and, you know, they were able to get there. So they did a good job. So that's all we have time for, folks. Then we'll take another quick break here. And Jay Robbie, it's good to talk to you, man.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. This is awesome.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Depression, what a dark place. Nobody really understands.
Good things. This is Dula, and you're tuned in to the Focuz TV One Network and Focuz the magazine.
This is Dr. Lee, and you're in tune with the Focuz TV One Network.
House, and guess what's next week? What? Talkies. You don't love talkies like this, girl. You, funny. Is your mouth burning? I said, really?
You talk. That's right. You talk. Come on now. You talk. Cause you know they got something to say. You talk. That's right. You talk. That's right. That's right. You talk.
When I've warmed up, and she said yes, he played with the Broncos, but Mr. Mingo is just like you. He needs to get his GED to move on or whatever. And I want you to treat him the same way as you've been treated. That's all we want is a chance. We don't, if you're better than us, prove it. If you're better than the black man, prove it.
Welcome back to the Sports Deck on Focuz Media One Network, powered by Sports Talk Net One. So, you were saying maybe you could talk about you got a new song here dropping here soon, J. Rob.
Between Kelly and myself, and God's Got Me just came out a little. my publicist, Tisha Marie, she's been pushing 100%, 24 hours a day, trying to get me out there. My managers, Rosita and Riley, man, they've been working round the clock, and we got so much stuff going on, with the music videos that's about to be released next month, called Tame the Tongue. It's going to be dropping real soon. So, it's a lot going on right now. So,
yeah, sounds like it. But being in the music world, I guess that's something new for you, or not necessarily new, but definitely the way your life pretty much revolves around writing new music, getting albums out, and getting stuff out for us music lovers to listen to. And
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, God's Got Me. When people listen to it, it's basically based on my life story. If you go to YouTube or Google, look up God's Got Me. It's by J-Rob. You'll find it anywhere on any social media, any download platform that you can stream music from, and you can find it there. Also, my past life. My past life is talking basically on about, you can't judge somebody from the past. You just got to accept them for who they are now, because, God can't change them, So, that's what that song is about. And it talks about, current events, what just happened, and, also, I got interviews coming up with Focus One magazine, coming up on March 5th, I believe it is. And, on top of that, there's possibility, there's word that my music might be into movies that's happening. And my publicist, Tishan Marie, she's amazing. I mean, I can't express how much I really appreciate her, because she's always keeping me in check. She's making sure that everything is done and everything, all T's are crossed and every I is dotted, and and it's just been amazing time that I'm going through. So if anybody out there that doesn't know who I am, by the way, I am J-Rob. I am a Christian rap artist, inspirational rap artist. You can find my music on every download platform as of right now.
very cool. That'll be something interesting to get into. Are you kind of excited to do an interview here with Focus Media? And I'm sure you've done quite a few. Is it always nerve-wracking or nervous going into a new interview every few weeks?
It is. I'm going to tell you, I had to pray before I came live. I've been back and forth during the breaks, asking my publicist, "Am I doing good?" But it is a nerve-wracking sometimes. But you know what? It's something that I love to do, and it's a great time. Always showing love to everybody. And T.Web, man, it's been a pleasure of working with you tonight and going over sports. It was so much fun. I had a great time, and I want to say thank you for having me tonight.
Yeah, man, it was definitely fun to meet you. You're welcome, sir. It was fun talking with you, and it was a great show. And for our first one here, I think we did a fantastic job, and it was fun to talk to you about sports and listen to some of your music before the show. And I'll definitely get listening to some of that and some of your new stuff coming out here.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And it's been a pleasure.
So next week on the show, we'll have Joe Mingo coming on. And that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you for watching At the Sports Desk live on Focus Media One Network, powered by Sports One Media Net.
Ray Acosta, Derek Richardson working with him, and we
Focus TV One Network, 24 hours of entertainment. Catch the wave.
And she said, yes, he played with the Broncos, but Mr. Mingo is just like you. He needs to get his GED to move on or whatever. And I want you to treat him the same way as you've been treated. That's all we want is a chance. We don't, if you're better than us, prove it. If you're better than the black man, prove it.